Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello.
Yeah, shaky cam for you. We're here giving you the gaming news like we do every single week, or at least as many weeks as we can. We don't miss very many. We talk about gaming, we talk about nerd stuff, general ramblings, fun stuff. If you're in the chat, we're live every single Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, whatever time zone you are, do the math on that. But we ramble, we chat. If you're in the chat,
Figure it out.
Yeah, if you're in the chat with us, you can heckle us and add to the conversation. We want to hang out and chat with you. So that's what we do. How you been, man? You good?
Pretty good. Just coming off. Took I put the kid to bed, and I was like, I got 20 minutes. I'm gonna go do 10 minutes yoga.
Yeah.
Stretch out a little bit. Did some floor stretches. Got the spine kind of engaged there. It's Wednesday. It's almost July the 4th, which, if you're an American, generally means you get a holiday somewhere around there. Are you doing anything over the weekend? You doing any grilling or partying?
I'm gonna be grilling. I had a couple small gatherings that people invited me to, but
Sure.
they're either really far away or they're in another state. But actually, looks the majority of people that wanted to hang out didn't really do a lot or aren't able to. So I'm going to a water park on Monday because I'm off on Monday for July 5th/4th. Yeah, so I'll go to the water park and have some outdoors fun. So I think it's gonna be good.
What do you know? What do you normally grill? Are you do the burgers and hot dogs? You do some steaks?
Man, I am boring. I love chicken. I'll make some other stuff and everything, but I love burgers, hot dogs, and really good grilled chicken. Different seasonings on it. I do it a lot. I'm boring, but I'll probably do up some barbecue. Even if I'm not having people over this weekend, I'll do some barbecue chicken. And I don't know. I'm thinking about getting some ribs, but I don't know if
what are your cookout sides?
Cookout sides.
What's on the side?
So
aside from potato chips and French onion or ranch. French onion or ranch?
For my potato chips?
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of chips, honestly, but
me either. But
yeah, I'd say French onion. I like that.
French onion for sure. No, I don't either. I don't eat a lot of potato chips anymore. But every time the grill is going to be involved, I'm like, you got to get some Ruffles, right? Or some Lay's.
I like Ruffles. When I was a kid, it was Doritos, but and I say kid, even when I was a teenager. But yeah, maybe some Ruffles. I like to, when I do sides, I may make some stuff pre-chilled stuff or whatever. I love making some mac and cheese, but if I'm making doing more of a cookout thing, I try to put stuff, cook stuff that I can cook out while I'm on the grill, so I don't have to go back and forth to the kitchen, or I have the stuff kind of ready. So if it's something that can sit on the stove and keep warm while I'm grilling, that works. But I like taking a bunch of vegetables and stuff, or one thing of a bunch of vegetables and one thing of a bunch of potatoes, and chop them up, olive oil, season it, throw it in some aluminum foil, and then put that up on the grill. So while you're grilling everything else, those cook in their little flavor packets. I like doing that. It's something my uncle used to do. We'd when we go up to the lake, and he'd cook out with charcoal in the the little tiny confined thing that a campsite would have. He'd just throw little packets,
that little box.
Yeah, the little box. He'd get that thing started, and we'd have there'd be all right, chicken's in here, and this is so it was really simple, but it worked. It always worked. So I'll probably be doing something like that. Probably some. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think they're Yukon Gold potatoes, the little small ones. Cut those up into 4 or 8 pieces a piece, and they're tiny at that point. Olive oil, salt, pepper, oregano, and then put that in that aluminum foil while you're cooking whatever else you're cooking. And then by the time it usually times out that it's all done, and then you got some potatoes on the side. Obviously, you got to use a fork for it, but that and some mac and cheese made in the oven.
Yeah, mac and cheese I save for Thanksgiving just because it's so time consuming to make like a solid mac and cheese. So I get a can, like a big old can of ranch style beans, which you
Okay.
don't have to do a single thing to, which if you're not from the South, try ranch style beans sometime. Most people have literally never heard of them. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, you put them in the pot and you turn on the heat, and that's it. Don't touch them. But they're amazing for some reason. But my kind of go-to side that like I'm famous for, not really, but that I like to think that I'm famous for, you take some corn on the cob and you go ahead and shuck it. That's fine. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Take some butter in a pot, melt that down with some garlic in it. Make yourself a little garlic butter.
With some butter.
And so after you melt that down, you're going to wrap the corn in the foil. You're going to drip over the garlic butter, and then you're going to sprinkle Creole seasoning, that green can I grew up on it, the Cajun seasoning. You're going to sprinkle that on there all the way around, wrap it tight, put that on the grill for about 20-30 minutes. Then about 10 minutes left, you take you rotate it about halfway in, and about 10 minutes left, that's when you start throwing your burgers and your hot dogs on and start getting that. But you make yourself a garlic butter Cajun corn on the cob.
Sounds good.
And I'm thinking I might have to go buy some of those if I can. I was just going to go simple and just be the tell everybody else to bring the sides. I'm having some people over enjoying that vaccinated bunch of people that I got. So I got some people coming over, get some grilled food. Hopefully somebody brings a potato salad, because I also can't say no to a solid potato salad. Get that chicken salad out of here. I don't want it. I want the potato salad, and it better be mustard based.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
You mayo people, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need sugar in everything. Get your not that mayo is necessarily sugar, but like you need the mustard based potato salad. So hopefully somebody brings some of that, but it should be a good weekend. I don't know how much time I'm going to get to play some games, so it's a good thing I'm kind of in between waiting for Skyward Sword HD to drop. But I did go ahead and I got the platinum on some Ratchet and Clank. Got that going. Got my official Sony store t-shirt going on. Great game.
I loved it.
Great game. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year so far. We'll see where it all shakes out by the end of it. I did think it was a little too easy, and that's surprising for me, right? Because I think I'm the guy that stinks at games, and so on the normal mode,
you playing normal? Yeah,
just playing normal. Yeah, and so I expect to like die to a boss fight maybe or anything. Sure. I didn't die in a single boss fight. All of my deaths were all fall deaths, so every time like I would fall and the instant reloads and all that stuff. And then otherwise, though, since I was trying to level up all my guns, that's the only challenge I created for myself, was that uselessly, by the way, there is no trophy for leveling all your guns. There's one for buying all the guns. So you can do the plat in one playthrough plus about 10 minutes. You have to start a new game and buy this last gun. So just to let you know, you can collect everything else in your first playthrough before you beat the boss, and then you have to start the challenge mode. Yeah, challenge mode is what they call it. And the first time you go to the weapon store, you can buy the last gun, which is one bolt, and so they just kind of give it to you. But if you do all the collecting beforehand, you can save yourself.
As long as you get all the stuff when it's like you got to get X amount of things at the. So it's not you didn't have to use a guide to like go back and find stuff that you missed, like other than it saying you have 5 out of 6 or whatever of those items for collectibles, right? Like everything else.
I used a guide on a couple.
Okay.
I used a guide on a couple because I just didn't know where a couple. There's this one collectible one that's I don't know if you've seen it. There's a bear.
I haven't. No.
There's these little squeaky bears, and there's one in every single world. They never show up on the map, and so they're completely not missable, because you can go back and get them after you beat the world. But like, you eventually unlock an item that shows you everything on the map, but it still doesn't show you these bears.
Gotcha.
And so I looked up a guide to find those bears.
Yeah.
And no shame, I don't care. I was like, I'm getting the platinum for this game, and I'm about to beat the crap out of it, so I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
But great game, beautiful game, absolutely gorgeous game. If you want to sit there and stare at it and not play it, turn on the fidelity mode and just kind of look around, and then switch it back to performance mode, because once you played in 60 frames, like, the action is just so choppy in comparison. And so to make sure you flip on fidelity, take a look around, just whoa, pretty, and then turn it back and play the game, and it's still beautiful.
I do like that they did the ray tracing performance. So it's, let's do, basically 1080 with ray tracing, 60 frames. That's how I think you played that. That's how the mode you played in, right?
Yeah, the
ray tracing performance.
The performance RT,
plus, whatever. Yeah. I've actually been talking to people, some people on Reddit and a couple groups on Facebook, where people are saying, they're like, "Hey, I've got a 1080p TV, but it's 60 frames. I feel and I have a PS5, and people are like, that's fine. Put it on performance mode and go enjoy it. Like." 4K is great. Don't get me wrong, but as long as you have, and I think I've actually checked it here to make sure it was already set to performance ray tracing. As long as you're set on performance and you got 60 frames, it's going to look good. The ray tracing is done internally, so it's not a resolution thing. It's just how pretty can it process those lighting. Lighting and water in these games is just getting amazing. I'm continuing to be impressed by it, and I'm gonna skip. I mean, I played some Neo, but I'm gonna skip that, because speaking of companies that are making these games look good, we had relatively breaking news yesterday with Sony buying Housemarque. We've been talking about Xbox buying stuff. Sony's turn now. Sony's turn to buy some stuff, buying Housemarque, which everyone probably knows them from Returnal, which is the recent game that they've been doing. The other game that I played that I loved was Resogun. I don't know if there was another you enjoyed from Housemarque.
Super Stardust HD, or Super Stardust HD Ultra, or Bait Gamma. There's a couple different versions because it's on PSP and Vita. But I played the Vita one, which I think was Gamma, which was the full version. But Super Stardust is another one, and then Dead Nation and Alien Nation, if you like the isometric shooters. Those were, so they basically, up until Returnal, and I don't even know, is Returnal twin stick kind of, or
no? I mean, it has some shmup kind of things to it, but it's not twin stick. No.
Okay, so mainly up until that point, they'd done a ton of twin stick stuff for PlayStation. They've been on PlayStation since PS3. They've been around a long time, though, since the 90s. I think they even had a snowboarding game at one point, which was funny, but that was one of their really, really early games. What I want to know is just because I'm a nerd like that, I want to know what they paid, right? Because they got Insomniac, in my opinion, stupidly cheap, only a couple $100 million, and Insomniac's been killing it for them. So I can't imagine that Housemarque was more. Yeah. So I just want to know how much less it was.
Sure. I mean, I think Housemarque should be way less in comparison. Nothing against Housemarque, but Insomniac is one of the best, the best shops out there, right? Insomniac, Naughty Dog. There's certain companies that if they're making something, you're like, oh, it's going to be good. I don't even have to I know it's going to be quality even before I touch it. Insomniac's one of those. Housemarque was one that if you like twin stick shooters, you're probably familiar with the company. You probably played them even if you didn't know. You mentioned Vita. There's so many Vita, games that they did. But while they were announcing this, Sony Japan accidentally tweeted out this instead, welcoming Bluepoint instead of Housemarque. And
it's so funny.
It's Sony official, but out of Japan, it got taken down, but not before people screenshotted and everything. So the exact same graphic was then put up that said Housemarque instead of Bluepoint, where Bluepoint is shown here. So it was the same graphic. leading people to think, well, we already thought this was probably going to happen. Are they buying Bluepoint, or was that just a graphical error where either A, they had some stuff queued up, or B, they were making it real quick and put that thing in Photoshop, put the wrong source in there? What do you think? Do you think it was a mistake, or do you think they're actually buying Bluepoint?
I think it's 100% that they're going to buy Bluepoint.
Me
I think
too.
that there's no way that there's not, because there's no way. Isn't even right next to the Returnal character, isn't that a Dark Souls character or no?
Hold up.
Tell me, between Aloy and the person from Returnal, who is
let me
that?
move that real quick. I'm pretty sure it is. Move our icon. Oh shoot, I got it locked. I'm gonna move this to the front. Boop. That is. I'm almost certain that's from Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, not Dark Souls.
I'm almost certain that's from Demon Souls, and it's the Demon Souls remake on PS5.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm almost certain.
like, the graphic is there, even though Sony does own Demon Souls, so that has nothing to do with Bluepoint anyway, and the fact that they already own the IP. That's what allowed them to do the remake without Miyazaki and From Software to begin with. But I think including that in that banner, I think that there's just no way. I don't think that you messed that up.
Oh,
I
dude,
think
you're
that
right.
that deal's probably still in the works. I think that, I think they probably just wanted to separate it a little bit. So I think Returnal is the bigger buy. It's the bigger get, because Returnal has made original games this entire time. Bluepoint has made remakes, and that's nothing to hate on the remakes. But yeah, look at that graphic from the other tweet.
Yep, it does not have a good catch. Very nice. I didn't notice that before. Yeah, so there you've got your Returnal character. You got Ellie, the Returnal. I don't know the Returnal character's name. You have Aloy. So there's your three right there next to Housemarque. In contrast, as I move it over to Demon Souls being in there, which would have been the yeah. So yeah, whoops. Definitely a mistake. But it was not I forgot. I added the wrong icon. Someone online said that. I didn't catch that difference. So good eye on that.
I didn't actually notice until I looked at the picture just now. So
you caught it though. Yeah,
on the fly reporting right there.
Yeah, exactly. See, but Bluepoint is known, like you said, Bluepoint's known for doing their remasters. That's what they do. Their remaster / remakes. Shadow of the Colossus was great. I love that game.
Excellent.
And the remaster was amazing. Demon Souls may be one of the best examples of, let's take a game and let's just from the ground up keep what's good and make it next gen. And I'm saying that obviously as a Souls fan, but also it kept the core, like what everyone loves about the game, hardcore fans love about the game, kept the pacing. And Souls fans are as just like people who play fighter games. Like they'll scrutinize movement and hitboxes and everything, and it's perfect. So Shadow of the Colossus is another great one that the Bluepoint did in ICO. I'm just waiting for the official announcement because they can take that and make it look like a gem.
What I want to know is what they're working on. Like, we know previously that that's not is it Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch did Days Gone, and then they were working on the remake of either Uncharted or The Last of Us. I forget which one that they were actually working on. Either way, it was stupid and unneeded. I don't know why we need a new Uncharted or a new a remake of the first Last of Us. But that's a discussion for another day when they actually announce it. But the idea, so Naughty Dog took that back and said, we'll work on it in-house. Are they getting Bluepoint to help them with that? Is Bluepoint maybe doing a remake of something else? Are they remaking some Jack, maybe? Or some Sly Cooper? Or could they finally be given that chance and saying, here's some of our old stuff. Here's Jack. Here's Sly. Here's SOCOM. Here's your shot. Go make a game. Or are they going to be purely used as hey, remake and remaster all our stuff, which is their wheelhouse. That is what they do. So I would completely understand if that's what they're going to be made to do. I just hope that this means that they start bringing back some of that old stuff. They have so much dormant stuff from the PlayStation days that they could remake so many different things. Colony Wars, like there's so many different games sitting in the past, like the PS1 and the PS2 era, that hopefully like they could bring into the next generation if they're given that opportunity.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I'd like to. I mean, as much as it'd be cool to say, all right, well, let's have you do something with one of these, with Sly Cooper or something, with a property that, do a new Sly Cooper. That could be great. I don't know if that is in their wheelhouse, and if they have directors and people who can drive to create a new story like that from the ground up. And I'm not saying that to say they're bad in any way, because they're amazing at what they're doing. It's niche, but it works very well. I wouldn't mind seeing them. I would, if they stick to the remakes, remasters, as long as they're keeping it quality, as long as they're pacing themselves where they're not, just churning out remasters, left and right. I'm okay with it, as long as it's kept to quality, to keep the heart. Because I think that's what they keep with these games. When it comes to like Shadow of the Colossus here, keeping a wonderful game, keeping the heart of the game, and not just churning out games for a profit, because they're making profit, obviously, but it's about the art. It's about the art. You keep the art going, and people are going to buy it. Is really what it boils down to. Keep it up.
Yeah, and somebody who knows all about keeping art going is Todd Howard, forever, to infinity.
And beyond, yeah.
And beyond.
So Todd Howard saying Elder Scrolls 6 is in the design phase. Now he did say, I will defend him a little bit and be like,
okay.
He's like, all right, well, we're using the Starfield, the new tech from Starfield on Elder Scrolls. And as soon as he said that, and when he put that in there, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not just about like, it's early stages, obviously, but they want to make sure that one, Starfield has to get finished. Two, they're using a different engine than they used in Skyrim, in Fallout, and all these. I think they used the Creation Engine in for the past 12 years or something. So
since time began.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think. I don't think it was Morrowind. I think it was Oblivion. I may be wrong. It may have been going back right over to Morrowind. Old games. But also, they take their time with these games. So them saying, all right, well, it's still in design. Okay, that's fine. Because once they're ready, this is Skyrim making, by the way, they pour insane money into it. And then Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have insane money into it as well. So yes, you're right. It's further back than I thought. I know that now. But I'm okay with it. Because once they're ready, they're going to do this. It's going to be great.
I can't believe they put a splash screen of this game, dude. Like, especially with Starfield coming out in November of next year. People legitimately thought that Starfield was coming out this year. By the end of this year, it's not even coming out to the end of next year. And you, 2 years ago, said, we're making Elder Scrolls 6. Whenever I hear we're making, that means to me that's when you're designing. Like, if you say, like, hey, this is in development, that tells me that you're working on it.
It was 3 years ago, by the way. It was 3 years ago.
I did get put in my place like a little bit whenever I was arguing with some people on Discord just about how long their games take to make with BGS specifically, and that's Bethesda Game Studios. For those who don't know, Bethesda is a big, giant company. ZeniMax is like the parent company, now owned by Microsoft, the actual parent company. But Bethesda Game Studios is one specific studio in that conglomerate. So when people think of Bethesda and think about Doom and Wolfenstein and all that stuff, those are made by different studios. Bethesda Game Studios makes the RPGs, the Western RPGs, like Skyrim, like Starfield, like and Fallout. So they made Fallout 76. That wasn't a side studio, and so I did have to get put in my place in terms of release. Whenever I was talking about the last time a game came out was 2016, which was Fallout 4. Fallout 4 came out in 2016. 76 came out in 2018, and now Starfield's coming out in 2022, and then 6, I'm gonna say 25. Like, I have
I'm
no
thinking
idea.
that now. I'm thinking that now, and I hate that that's what's going to happen. But I'm thinking you're right. It's probably gonna be another 4 years. I think we got spoiled by Fallout 4. I think that's what happened. Fallout 4, they were like, "Hey, guess what? There's a new Fallout game. It's gonna be here in 3 months," and everyone
Yeah,
lost their minds because that
Fallout
game,
4 is 2015. Sorry.
2015, no one knew. They announced it at E3, and they're like, "Yeah, Fallout 4 is the thing. Here's 40 minutes of us talking about it." And Fallout Shelter is going on as well. And Fallout Shelter to hold you over for the next 3 months because then the game comes out. I think that spoiled some people. There's a lot of time that goes into these games. Hold on. Elder Scrolls Online is done by a different company. So you're right. It's Fallout 4.
Yeah, ESO is somebody else. So
Yeah.
we had, starting in 2002, there was Morrowind. 2006 we had Oblivion. 8 Fallout 3. 11 Skyrim. 2015 Fallout 4. I'm not counting their special edition Skyrim or VR. Forget that. And then 2018 Fallout 76. Starfield 2022. And so they have been on a good 4-year tear. It just, I think because they have those two big IP, and then now they're adding Starfield into the mix, you're just thinking about, because we got Skyrim in 2011, and so by the time we get the next Elder Scrolls, it will probably be 14 to 15 years since Skyrim came out.
Yep.
Which is just insane to think about. Leaving an IP alone for that long that people like that much, when Fallout, I guess, feels like Fallout's gotten more recent love. But even then, they had 7 years between 3 and 4, and so I'm probably being a little hard on them, but at the same time, I'm so mad about how they've done Starfield that I just don't like, and I don't even care. I don't even play their games, and I'm just mad at them for just showing it at E3 this year, where it's like, we're going to show you this 20-second teaser to let you know that the game comes out in November, and then Todd's going to keep talking about it a little bit. He's going to tell you about Starfield and how we're going back to some of the old school RPG mechanics from Morrowind, and then bring up, I just wouldn't even talk about it. I know people are going to ask you, and I'm just like, sorry, I'm not talking about Elder Scrolls 6 anymore.
Yeah,
like
I'm not ready. Yeah, we're not ready or whatever. I agree. Like, as someone who loves this series, who loves like much of what Todd Howard touches and everything, I'm like, yeah, you should have waited. I don't understand why they announced it to wait, just to wait this long. I mean, like you said, working on we got a splash screen for Starfield, we got a splash screen for Elder Scrolls 3 years ago. Why? If you were still designing it, continue to design it. Announce it. This is the year you show the splash screen. Here's some more Starfield. Starfield comes out next year. Oh, by the way, one more thing. We're also in development now of Elder Scrolls 6. I had some breaking news that someone just messaged me, by the way, on Facebook, and I wish they'd done it on the chat, because did you hear about the new Lego set for the Slave 1?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't hear about this, and people are losing their minds about it. The name has changed on the ship. I don't care, really. I mean, I know that the name of, I know what the name was. I don't think they never said it in the show. I think they're doing this specifically to say, okay, well, that word has a certain connotation, especially in our country, on slavery. Does it need to be called the Slave One? No, not really. It's called Boba Fett's ship. I don't have a problem with it, really, but people were losing their minds about it. Of
course, because nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. I think if you go and look at the other Lego ships, and you'll notice that from the Lego perspective, if you look up Kylo Ren's fighter, it's called Kylo Ren's fighter. It's in the Lego sets. I don't know what it's called
Yeah.
in the compendium encyclopedia. I don't own it, and so we could probably look up Wikipedia and see what's Kylo's ship called. What's Kylo Ren's
So I will say the previous release of the Lego of the ship did say Slave One, so they do have a change there. But at the same time, if they're changing, I mean, one, like we said, it's problematic. Two, if they're changing it to be to be in line, I'm fine with all this. Yeah, Kylo Ren's shuttle is what I see it listed as.
The only one that you like literally would seriously offend me as a longtime Star Wars fan is if you messed with Millennium Falcon. If you said this is Han Solo's ship, you're out of your mind. It's the Falcon. Like it's the Millennium Falcon. Like
that's what your mom says. Isn't that Han Solo's ship? Like yeah. We all know it's the Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy in the chat, the TIE Whisper. Yeah, the other Kylo Ren's other ship was the TIE Whisper. And so, but if you go buy it, I believe it's just called Kylo Ren's shuttle, like you said. And I think I'd have to see if there was a Lego TIE Whisper.
The Whisper apparently, but yeah. But
whenever you're buying these things, though, think about it from the kid's perspective. As we've said a million times on this show, it's a kid's movie. It's a family. This is not for adults. And so whenever you're like Boba Fett from Mandalorian, who's so awesome, and he is awesome, they don't know the name of the ship. We knew it because we knew it. Like, that's just one of those things because you know.
Yep.
And I think that I just have a really hard time caring. What I will be interested in, though, is all ships have names.
Yeah.
His ship has a name. He's never, ever said it before.
Has he not?
He's never said it in the movies. There's nobody that's ever said the name.
Sorry.
That's another
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they've never said the name of Slave One. It was just Slave One because we knew it was Slave One.
Like we know the Tantive 4. Like we know that's Princess Leia's Corellian cruiser.
Right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't bother me because I would like to see what they say about it, like in the encyclopedia. Are they just going to call it Boba Fett's ship? But this is a Lego move. I don't have a problem dropping the word slave from a kid's toy.
Yeah. Same. I don't either. And I was like, if like you said, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, and the internet will be mad about anything and everything.
Of course.
But I'm like,
they're like, George Lucas never would have George Lucas sold the whole franchise for $4 billion. You think George Lucas cares?
Yep.
Because you know why? He hates Star Wars fans.
he was okay with us until
we literally drove Lucas to sell
his baby. He sold his baby. We made him hate us that much. Yeah, I know you're exactly right. He sold it. He sold it because he didn't want to make anymore. Like, and he has said in interviews, he was like, "No, after everything that I just went through, like, I don't want to make any more of these movies. I'm going to make my own stuff. I want to make my own movies." And he doesn't even care if they're released. I think he's made like 2 or 3 that he has no plan to release. It's and I'm not saying George Lucas is anywhere near like Prince, but Prince has like album after album after album that he never released. And he never planned on releasing. So I don't know if we're ever going to see Lucas's movies. I don't know if we're going to see Prince's stuff. But yeah, no, I agree with that. I'll
just say, Jeremy, we like the prequels around here. We don't love them, but we like them around here. We actually, if you go back on our YouTube channel, we did talk about the prequels leading up to Episode 9. We actually did a thing where we talked about all the Star Wars movies, and so I don't hate the prequels personally. I have a love hate, but there is a lot of love.
I appreciate more of it now.
I can't say it's his fault when it's his project, right? Like, it's his stuff. Whenever the guy made the movies that he wanted to make, it's really hard to say Lucas, it's your fault that Star Wars is bad, and Lucas is just like, well, it's my fault that Star Wars exists to begin with,
Yeah.
so shove it up your,
Yeah, no, I agree. And I will say, I've said it over and over and over again. I think that if he had done the treatment that he did with Empire and Jedi with the prequels, we would not be arguing like this whatsoever. If he had done the story treatment, first draft of the script, handed it over, you have script doctors, you have people who tighten it up, the work with producers, and you have an amazing director do it, we wouldn't be arguing like this, because there would be certain things that would have been filtered out, like Jar Jar Binks stepping in poop in episode 1. Like, they'd have been like, we don't need that. He's already, kids will like him. We don't need to go that far. And we wouldn't be nitpicking it as much. But I thought I'd show that real quick. Back into
you know what other franchise is only doing okay? It's Halo.
It's Halo. Yeah.
I read this stuff from Phil. So Phil went on. For those who don't know what podcasts, the Xbox podcast that IGN does, they just did their 500th episode, and Phil went on the 500th episode, which is awesome. Like, how awesome is that? As like a fan, I know IGN's a business and everything, but like, it's done by Ryan McCaffrey, who has been in the Xbox industry literally since the beginning. Long time dude. Follow him on Twitter. He's fantastic and such a positive guy. And also, if you like Teslas, he's a big Tesla fan. But Phil's on here and he's talking about Halo, and dude, everything that I like, maybe I'm reading into it. I don't know if you read all the quotes on this article that I posted, but does it just not seem that Phil that he knows that the game's only okay?
I think he knows way more. He's trying to be nice about it, but I think that he's seen it. I know he's seen it. I know he's played it, and I think that he knows Halo's going to be there for some people. People are going to love Halo, sure, but he's not going to win a bunch of new fans, new people to Xbox with Halo. Like, that's not going to happen. I think he knows that. I think that it's going to be fine. But I think honestly, he's more thinking about the demographics, right? Because he's a gamer and everything. He's thinking about demographics. He's like, Halo's going to entertain the people who want to play a Halo game. It's going to be fine for that. It's not going to be game break. It's not going to be mind melting. It's not going to have people buying Xboxes, and they don't really care about that. I think that's why his response was tempered. I don't think it's going to be terrible, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near some of the other games that have maybe come out earlier this year. I know I'm partial to Demon's Souls, but that game was so good. Ratchet was so good. Is this game going to play as good as those games, or Deathloop that's coming out very soon? I know they're very different tonally, but I'm saying I think when Halo launches, I think it's going to play like an Xbox One game. I don't think it's going to be a next gen feel for a long time, if they even patch it up to be next gen. That's my feeling on it.
I think they're just counting on the multiplayer being dope.
Yeah.
Like, this is just one of these quotes that I never want to put a team in a position where they feel this one's got to land, or who knows.
Yeah.
So this is in reference to 343. Then he says, I don't think it's make or break. I just don't believe that. So why do you even have to say that? That tells me like the game's not good. If you don't think that it's make or break, if it's not good, I just don't know why you even have to mention it. And then he like ends with, I think that there's going to be millions of people that are going to play the game and love that game, and that's because I think the multiplayer is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
I think the multiplayer they did show off that it looked dope. They didn't show it off during E3. They showed it off in an after video. They didn't show off very much during their actual live performance at all. But to me, I think the campaign is going to be awful. I don't know. There's just nothing that's been making me feel good about the single player part of this game. And even though COD has gotten me back into multiplayer, and I am super pumped to play some Halo multiplayer. I used to play a lot of Halo 3. That was kind of the end of my gaming, right when I started college. I was playing a lot of Halo 3, and then I stopped playing games kind of for a few years while I was at school. But Halo 3 was it was on. I loved it. I had those maps memorized. I was all over the place. COD has gotten me back into that multiplayer feel, but I wanted a good, strong campaign. I wanted something that was fun to play. I just, we're all going to get it because we all have Game Pass, and Game Pass is everywhere. He didn't say anything that filled me with any confidence about the game. He, like, if he was confident, I feel like he would be like rah about it. Like, we showed it last year, we took the feedback, now it's awesome. Like, I don't know if he's just trying to temper expectations or if he really just doesn't think it's going to be good. I don't know.
I think you're right, because I think if it was good, I think he would be saying things like, Master Chief's been the mascot or been the face of Xbox. He wouldn't use the word mascot, but I think he'd say things like that, right? Master Chief is the face of Xbox, and this is what we're known for. He'd say things like that, and I think he's just trying to like temper those expectations down. It's like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And for Halo fans, like I said, for Halo fans, I think Halo fans are gonna love it. Multiplayer coming out for free, I think, was a great step for that, because they may or may not have people buying it, if they, I don't think they even care about that, because they want the subscriptions more than anything. If they can get you tied into the subscription, forget that you may or may not remember that you're paying for it. Just keep that reoccurring. They'd rather have that $10-15 from you rather than occasional money. They want a steady stream from millions and millions of us. It's easier than whales at this point. Speaking of that with multiplayer, by the way, there was a article that came out, and I knew a little bit about this, but I didn't realize how big it was going. So there's a company, where is it? Because I had it just a second ago. There's a company who has been pushing for quite a while. This is Simul Media. They do a lot of ads for mobile games. They have been pushing and positioning for over a year and a half. I looked back at it to say, like, okay, is this new? No. This interview's from 10 months ago, where he describes PlayStation, Xbox, all the console ecosystems, and said they are ripe for adding ads into your games. And he's trying to get the developers, trying to get the publishers, trying to get the console, Sony and Microsoft to allow that foot in the door for you playing your Madden game or whatever it is, for you to have a commercial break and for them to have a targeted ad towards you while you're playing a game.
Sure.
And that's why I said, if we're talking free multiplayer like games where it's like, hey, it's a free game, and while you're waiting in the lobby, here's an ad or whatever, I don't care. I don't care about that. But if I have some problems with this when it comes to AAA games or anything that I've actually purchased. I don't know how you feel.
The question is, who's going to sell out first? I mean, this is already big in the mobile game space. Yep. There's actually a thing where that's why Apple Arcade is such a crazy service, in the fact that Apple Arcade's a paid-for subscription service. It's like $5 a month, but literally every game in Apple Arcade can have 0 ads, and it has 0 in-game purchases for mobile games.
That's right.
And so it's already huge in the mobile game space. The ads, especially if you're getting the free version of a game, a free version means that there are ads in that game to pay for it, and they'll just pop up. They might be a little banner that slides down. It might be something that shows up in the main menu. It can be anything. There have already been games that have been criticized for this, sports games in particular. I think NBA 2K has done it a couple times, and it's met with unhappiness every time, especially if it's done during like loading times in particular, which thankfully newer consoles are kind of eliminating the possibility for that to happen. But ads make the world go around. That's the unfortunate thing. And so the thing is, who's going to sell out? And the people who are going to sell out are people like Activision. It's going to be in Call of Duty. Yeah, just give it time. They're gonna pop up in there. There's so much opportunity in games like Warzone, in battle royales, where you're just in this giant open arena. You know, you could find things. I think it was crazy that nobody gave Kojima more snuff for like Mountain Dew being in Death Stranding.
Okay, but that's product placement. That's product placement.
I mean, that's an ad.
It's what I'm talking about, and what he's talking about is literally, here's a trailer or here's a commercial, a TV style ad where they play a Doritos commercial for you, and it's not just a character happens to open up a bag of Doritos. Like that's sometimes subtle, sometimes not subtle product placement. They're talking about rolling out ads, targeted ads to say, here's your, which if you have by the way, if you have like Hulu and others that, if you have a streaming service like Hulu, they have ads that are attached to you based on either your preferences or the show you're watching. It's targeted towards that. Where it used to be people would buy commercial time, or if you're watching traditional TV, depending on what it is, sometimes they're even targeted. This is literally like, no, we're going to play a trailer for you. We're going to play a commercial for you. So you have a Bud Light commercial or whatever the heck it is in there. If and I will say, yeah, Kojima, that was weird. It was weird and out of place. But in this case,
I think if they do that, that means that they have to break off a piece for every company. Like they would have to give Sony a percentage of the ad buy.
Yeah.
There's no way that Sony's just going to let you advertise somebody else's product on there without paying them for it. And you're already paying Sony 30%.
Yep.
But Sony's going to be like, well, we're taking your 30%, and
we want a little.
If you're running a Mountain Dew commercial in your game, we're getting some from Mountain Dew as well. There's no. I think if you have games like this that are starting to sell out, I'm not calling that I'm not being hyperbolic and saying like that's awful for games. I think that you're always going to have holdouts. Where you're going to see this happen though is Battle Royale. That's the obvious thing. You're going to be like on the plane getting ready to jump, and there's going to be some commercial running right before you jump onto the map. You know, I can totally see that. I can picture it right now of what you're doing. Or imagine Fortnite, and Fortnite's had concerts and stuff in there as well, but they're already set up for that kind of thing. You could just have it playing on a screen as you run by shooting at things. It's over there, and for only $19.99.
Yeah, it's a world I don't want to have to deal with that. But you're right. It's only a matter of time before someone says, "Oh, well, I can make a piece," or "I can make a piece." I would imagine if they do something like that Sony, Xbox, whoever, whatever platform that they're going on to, that those companies, in my opinion, would probably have a list of rules where it's like, all right, well, you're not advertising. I'm going to guess it's like we're not going to advertise alcohol. I know I mentioned Bud Light because they're known for commercials. My guess is you're going to have certain rules like that. What?
I mean, there'd only be certain rules like that depending on the ESRB rating.
Yeah.
So if your ESRB rating is mature, you can advertise whatever you want.
That's true. But like, that's where I'm like, if they're able to target it, then I'd say so, because it has been rated mature. But I don't know. I feel like it's like, if I could stop it, if I had my say, I'd be like, look, this is the direction we should go. But I'm not the king of video games. What I say doesn't happen. Some people don't care that they're seeing an ad. Some people want to see those commercials. I don't. I don't. Especially when I'm playing a game. I'm like, no, I'm in the moment, and I don't want this weird like dystopian future, what is it? Like Running Man or Idiocracy, where it's like while I'm doing something else, it's like, you get a big gulp. I'm like, I don't want a big gulp. I'm playing this game. I just rather not have that happen. But oh well, we'll see if it ends up happening. I don't think it's going to happen in games like like The Last of Us, and those kind of games aren't gonna. It's not going to be a position for that.
I don't think you'll ever see it in a first party. I mean, not ever, but not in any near future will you see that in a first party game. That kind of defies the whole point. It's going to be some kind of third party nonsense, and more than likely it'll be free to play games.
Yeah, no, you're right. Should we skip this last one and do our 12 for 12, or do you want to?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Konami's back. They're probably making Silent Hill with the Blooper team. That probably matters to you more than me. So Konami's not making games. They are they have a partnership. We actually don't know that it's Silent Hill, but the
We
Blooper
don't.
team is a horror game
More
developer,
one.
so it's probably likely.
It probably is, yeah. And they did the medium, which is the one I was trying to queue up here that didn't quite get it. Yeah, they did the medium, which
Sucked.
like I like scary games. I didn't, but it wasn't that scary. And even for what the mood they were going with, I wasn't digging it. It wasn't bad. It was just okay. That being said, I'm playing people were complaining about controls and stuff. I'm playing, or I tried to play with the PlayStation Now streaming. I was like, let me grab something easy. Agatha Christie's ABC Murders. It's like a mystery
Nice.
game. I was like, okay, we'll see how this is. The graphics are not very good. The controls are not very good. But that's not really what you're playing the game for. You're playing it for it to investigate a murder scene and figure those things out. Which I'll admit, even though the controls weren't good, I was having fun playing it because of that. So played some PlayStation Now with that. And my quick review on that, by the way, on PlayStation Now is if you can download the game. Streaming is not bad, but their load times are terrible. And if you have a PlayStation 5, being able to download it on your console, your load times are going to be considerably better than their servers. Because their servers, they're not prioritizing you to load as fast as you can. They're not playing on solid-state hard drives. They're playing on traditional server hard drives that are relatively cheap. So just saying, load times were that great. But
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. They haven't fixed whatever they bought from Gaikai is not good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just took too long to load, in my opinion. It was like playing PS4, maybe a little slower. But anyways, so every single month we've been going through our backlog, which we're encouraging you guys to do that as well. Go through your backlog, play those games that you bought that you haven't actually played. We're doing one game every single month, a game that we purchased in the previous year, because we actually made this list before 2021. We made this list at the end of 2020. The rules are we are not adding to the list. We already came up with the list. We're not buying new games to play on the list. We'll still probably buy new games. But this month we actually both played the same game. We played some Wolfenstein. Yeah.
How long did you play this game for?
4 hours.
Okay, you made it longer than I did.
Yeah.
So you talk to me about Wolfenstein 2. I'll talk to you about, I don't know.
Sure.
Probably a different experience.
No, definitely. Like we sent some messages back and forth on it too. It's definitely not for everyone. Did you play the previous game, New Order?
Yeah, I played one.
Okay. So we played Wolfenstein.
Played Old Blood too.
Okay, so we played Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which, by the way, I felt that the gameplay, it was what I wanted for Wolfenstein. It was more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if maybe I didn't remember how difficult the first one was, but the game was, more difficult.
I was playing on the second to easiest difficulty, dude. Yeah, I was still dying.
Yeah, I had some deaths that that I thought were really punishing, but also this isn't Doom. You're not supposed to be an invincible killing machine, but at the same time,
Did you play Doom Eternal?
Yeah,
Doom Eternal's hard, dude.
Yeah, it is hard, but I feel like they want you to play at a certain pace, and I feel like Wolfenstein didn't. I felt like it was just a little bit slower of a pace of how they wanted you to pace it. I did appreciate the beginning that gave you a little recap, because if you hadn't played the game, this is actually a nice 3-minute long recap to kind of get you into the scene, to get you into the tone, and then the tutorial is your father and your situation growing up, to see how hard of a world he grew up in. This is a world where the Nazis won World War II. They've taken over, so there's a lot of harsh language in this game, and I don't mean F-bombs and stuff. There are very derogatory words towards people that the Nazis hated, and I understood that. I understood why it was there. There's extreme violence. I understood why it's there. I think if you don't mind sitting down and watching a Tarantino movie, and it doesn't offend you, I think this won't offend you. But if those kind of movies offend you, or it's just not something you think of as enjoyable, like to put on something like that, you may not enjoy this game, which I'm guessing, Owen, that's kind of your camp. It was a little much.
It wasn't even like the video that got me.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun. It was. There's no. I don't know. When I think they ran out of things to like make it less subtle. Like, they just really have leaned into, not only is this alt history,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just messed up alt history.
Yeah.
And while I get it, and you're like, man, whenever I think about the Nazis, right? Like, there is the awful side. There's the Auschwitz stuff. There's the experimenting. But the other part of the stuff that I think about is I think about Rommel, who was a tank commander in World War II, just a genius, a tactical genius, and what they did from a military perspective. And I think that there's some some marriage in there where, like, yeah, we could have the really bad experimenting and all that stuff, and we could also have the fact that the Germans really had a crazy, like, at least for the time, awesome military.
Yeah.
I just think the overdoneness of some of the enemies at the very beginning of the game. You fight this giant mechanized thing, and I was like, I feel like this was like the boss.
Yeah, this thing coming out here, is this what you're talking about?
It's it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get that that's a part of the game now, and I get that, like, I know that, it's just, I'm probably just years removed from New Order, and I know that New Order was probably like this. I just feel like this was just, they cranked it up to 11 from the very beginning. Like, I'm not going to spoil too much, but there's a thing there where you just see this person's like head get cut off, and you're just sitting there staring at it for a minute while you're still being held up, waiting for you to get your power leg thingies so that you can walk around again as BJ. And I think about my childhood, right, of playing the original Wolfenstein 3D. And I just think about the maps and the puzzles and stuff, and I think that there's probably just, like, I don't know, there's somewhere in there where this franchise may have lost me. I just can't. It's not even a headspace for me. It's just I don't know. I just don't want to see all of it as much anymore. I think whenever I think about shooters, I love a good shooter. I've been playing a lot of COD, and there's realism in there. In terms of, like, the blood and everything, but it's just not over the top. It's just I'm shooting at this dude, he's shooting back at me, cool. And then there's fantasy stuff like Outer Worlds and all that stuff, where, again, like, I'm shooting aliens and stuff, which I've always been okay with, because they're fictional creatures that you have no idea about. I just think that it's just weird that every single bad guy in this game was just this psycho. Like, nothing even made sense. They were psycho beyond psycho, to where it's like, how has nobody just shot you for being as crazy as you are? Like, where's the level-headed person who is like, you're being ridiculous right now, you need to calm down. I get that you want to kill all these people in a super brutal way, but this is a little unnecessary. Like, not unnecessary, but you know what I mean? Where's the level-headed enemy?
Well, and, like, you get a little bit of it with, like, I forgot her name, but there's a woman who's berated because they found her diary, and they go into, like, all of the, as they describe perversions on there, because she doesn't conform, or she's conforming to get through things. She's conforming so that way she survives, but she's not. But her diary, where she's actually writing down her hopes and dreams and everything, like, they out her. They out her in front of everybody. You got that far because that was the scene you're talking about. So your sympathy, I do agree. Like, I think they did go a little far on that. The previous one, I think, was a little more subtle. It was still overt in regards to the racism, sexism, and such.
Sure.
But honestly, I I'm in the minority on this, but I loved the Wolfenstein 2009 game that came out, which was, it was Nazis are bad, but it was more about the occult.
Not New Order. What was it?
No, it was just called Wolfenstein. It was just called
I
Wolfenstein.
thought it had a name.
It was before New Order. It was before Old Blood. It was before all those. It's 2009. It came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, I know that. I just thought it had a name.
Yeah, it's Wolfenstein.
Yeah, the new. Oh wait, no.
No.
No. Okay. What am I thinking of?
Yeah, that game I loved because it was okay. Nazis are bad. Yes, we all know they're bad, and it was more about there was some military aspect to it as well, but it was really more into the occult, which Wolfenstein goes into. But I felt like it was a better balance. This is more just completely overt. Which, by the way, this suit I hated. You saw that suit, right? That's the power suit that you get. And the other bit that you were talking about, where the power suit that you're fighting, it looks like a power suit from Fallout. And if you played the old school Wolfenstein games, that's what the boss at the end of the game, who's Hitler, in the first Wolfenstein, he's in one of those, and you're fighting one of those in 40 minutes into the game. But I think this one was less overt, less subtle in regards to some of these things. It's not. I don't think the game is bad, but you're right. It was. Let's make these people just insane, over-the-top, terrible people. And the people who follow them are completely fine with it. Not everyone would be. Yeah.
That's the thing, is I just don't want anybody to misconstrue me that I think that Nazis are bad. They're all bad.
Yeah.
They're terrible, awful human beings. It's just more even whenever you're a terrible, awful human being, you see that there's the level-headed, terrible, awful human being, the one that's cerebral about it. The thought process is there, and just the that kind of villain. And I think that you have to have that cross in between it. I was thinking of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, by the way, which came out in much earlier, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That's why I was I swear that there was a name with it, and I was thinking of Return.
No, I agree. I agree.
I should have known going in. I guess I just didn't expect the beginning like that. I think maybe most of the time what happens with Wolfenstein is you kind of you do start off getting roughed up, but then it kind of slows back down. And this didn't start slow at all. You were instantly in it, and I don't know. The thing that is definitely sucking so far for this 12 for 12 is I haven't finished any of them. we're 6 months in, and I haven't finished a single one of the 12 for 12 games. For July, going into Final Fantasy 9. Gonna try it one more time. If I can't get anywhere, if I cannot get past the same spot that I always get, just stop playing the game on, then I'm never ever going to get past it.
Are you playing it on? What are you playing that on? PlayStation 4?
I want to play it on PS4, and I'm going to play with. I'm not going to play with the cheats that break the trophies, but I'm definitely just going to turn on full health and so on, and I'm just going to try and get through some story.
Can you turn on full health and still get the trophies?
Yeah, so there's two different sets of cheats. There's one that's like a debug menu where you can max out your gil and do a couple of other things, and then there's one where you just are at it'll just keep you at full health, and then it'll you can also turn off encounters.
Okay.
And that won't break trophies. I'm not going to get the platinum or anything, but I like getting trophies just for playing the game. So I'm going to give it one more try. So technically I have played Final Fantasy 9 before, but I was like, okay, it's been 10 years or more since I've touched this game. I didn't like it as a teenager. I'm hoping something similar happens like with Wind Waker, where I was just like, okay, I don't feel it. I'm seeing if I'm going to feel it this time.
Yep. Wind Waker took me, I think it was three or four times before I got it. I'm pretty sure it was the third time it clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. We're good. So July, I opened my Christmas presents early because I played the game already. So I can talk about that, but I may throw in another game on there. So Resident Evil 3 was my July pick, which I played early.
Nice.
I may
Yeah.
play some 4 because I purchased 4. I've not played 4 except for like back in the day on whatever was that GameCube, I think. So I think I may
Yeah.
play some 4. I'll talk about both of them, but I did jump the gun and play some Resident Evil 3. So I'll play some Resident Evil 4 and talk about them both. Yeah.
Nice.
So let us know what you're playing this week. What you're playing. What are you planning? There certain games you're going to buy? Did you pick up Mario Golf? I hope you didn't. Are you picking up Zelda? Is there something in your backlog that's just burning? Pick it up, play it. Let us know about it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.